voice actor. I've been acting since I was 8 years old, and I've worked on video games, anime, commercials for TV and radio, all sorts of stuff. Most recently, you can hear me as Rin in Blue Exorcist, and as Kirito in Sword Art Online. And if you haven't seen the English dub yet, I was able to bring episode 1 of the English dub to Canada, and it's the official Canadian premiere of Sword Art Online, which is awesome. So tomorrow, we'll be able to watch that together, and it'll be fun. Yeah, so, thank you. So, if you guys have any questions for me, ask away, just hang out and grab the mic and ask away.
Have you ever played any games that you have voiced in, and how did it feel like you have?
Yeah, I have Tales of Grace's F, and I am Asbel Lant, and that's a great game. It is massive, and I'm happy to say I've been so busy that I'm still not done, but I know what happens, so that's a good one. And I have played a little Dissidia. I've picked that up and messed with that. Final Fantasy Dissidia. I'm Zidane Tribal with the monkey tail, and it's another great game. Yeah, thank you.
Since you voiced Rin from Blue Exorcist, how do you feel like with some of the, because he's such kind of like a carefree and like really active and energetic, and like when he, like some of the like fight scenes and such, how do you feel like when you're voicing that?
I love Rin. He's such an awesome character, and you're right, he's totally carefree, and he goes from just being the happiest guy, happy-go-lucky, hanging out at an amusement park, to fighting as a demon and using his satanic powers to kick ass. So it's great to play that range. I feel like my personality in real life is very similar to the happy-go-lucky Rin. I'm always kind of having fun and enjoying the little things in life. And to get to that demonic side is fun also. So yeah, I absolutely love playing Rin, and I'm ecstatic that I get to be Rin again in Blue Exorcist the movie, which is coming very soon and is going to be in some theaters, premiering in some theaters in the US. So it's exciting, very exciting. Hopefully it'll come up here.
Hi Bryce.
Yo, what's happening?
Tell us a little bit how you started your career.
Sure. So my dad, his name is Bob Papenbrook. He was a voice actor. He did all sorts of stuff. One thing he was known very well for was being Rito Revolto, the skeleton dude on Power Rangers. And I used to go with him to work and watch him. And actually, at that studio, they had a bunch of the rubber suits of the monsters. So I used to love to go and like check those suits out. Like literally, an entire wall was just full of these suits. And so I would go with him and watch him work, and it was just amazing in the booth. And one day, the director said, "Hey, we need a kid's voice to cover this small part. Can he jump in there?" And my dad's like, "Oh yeah, put him in, he's a pro." And that was it. Before I knew it, I found myself in the booth and absolutely loved it. And since then, I've just stayed very active, and in the last few years, extremely busy. And I hope to keep doing this for years to come. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So, yeah. Feel ecstatic to sort of carry on in his footsteps.
So when Rin was fighting our mom,
my mom?
Yeah, him. How did you get into that? How did you get into Rin when doing that? Like, was it hard at all trying to?
Okay, well, actually, that's one of my favorite scenes in the series. The first time that they fight each other. If you guys haven't seen this episode, everyone's kind of at this amusement park called Mephi Land, and Ren has this sword, and if the sword is taken out, that's when his demonic powers come out, and these blue flames cover his body. But no one knows that he's the son of Satan and a demon yet. So Amaimon jacks his sword and is messing with him. He's flame on, flame off, flame on, flame off, flame on, flame off. So, I just thought, literally in my head, if, Satan's in my body and I feel these powers and someone is literally just messing with me, screwing with my sword, how would I feel? How would I act? Also, sometimes to get into character, I think about things that have absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in the scene. So, one time, like very, very recently, as I was recording that, my dogs got into something in my house, and they left my house a mess. I have two Maltipoos. Their names are Micro and Mini. And they got into, I think it was like a bag of chips or something that they should not have been able to get. They got that and they tore it up and just left it everywhere in the house. And I came home and I was just like, really? Really? So that anger for my dogs came out in Rin fighting my mom. So there you have it. It doesn't necessarily have to be part of what's going on. You can just tap into, a similar emotion that you felt at any time.
So did you use something like that when Ren fought him again, like in the forest, like when he took Shirumi and such?
Yeah, very similar sort of raw anger towards my poodles.
Especially when he started to actually lose control.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Tales of games.
Okay.
And I was wondering if you have played through Tales of Graces and any other Tales games, and which characters were your favorites?
I have played Tales of Graces, and I said before, I'm still not done playing. And I mean, I love Asbel. He's awesome. And I haven't played any other Tales games. Hey guys, come on in, have a seat, chill. I haven't played any other Tales games, but I know there's some coming soon, so I might have to go pick those up because they look pretty sweet.
Considering all the projects you worked over through the years, like when it compared to video games, animes, movies, and things like that, which is the most challenging or which is the most fun to work on?
So I have such a hard time answering, which project is the most challenging, because every time I walk into the booth and into the studio, I'm just having fun and just sort of enjoying it. So I haven't been stretched so far where I feel sort of uncomfortable and challenged. Every time I'm in there, I'm just sort of enjoying myself. One challenge that happened recently, though, is keeping up with Kirito's screams. Because if you guys have seen it in Japanese, they are epic. I mean, insane. I was recently in Boston at another convention, and I was able to meet the Japanese director of Sword Art Online. And I was talking to him about the experience of the Japanese actor. And he said that the screams were so intense that the Japanese actor would get nosebleeds. So, I mean, that's the intensity of screaming that I was faced with. I mean, I watched the scene and I'm just like, wow, that is insane how epic this is. So, I think I was able to get pretty close to him and capture that epicness, but my throat definitely paid the price we would record dialogue for the entire session and then save 15 minutes at the end of each session to just scream. Just scream until that epicness was there, you know, when you just hear something and it just kind of gives you the chills. Like that's what we were going for. And what's really awesome is the staff, the director, and even the mixer. The director's name is Alex. Oscar is working the board. These guys really care about the quality of the project. And we would take a line and work on that line until they were like, yes, that is it, that is awesome. You know, we knew the importance of the show, how great of a show it was, and we wanted the English dub to really live up to that. So when you guys see this dub, I mean, I was blown away by some of the performances of the other actors. And you can really see, you know, that they cared about this. They wanted it to turn out really, really well. And you can see that passion kind of coming through. So hopefully it'll come through when you guys see it.
So you wrote Alpha from Archimelical 3? It
Yes.
was a while back, but in the game you could choose between two girls, Fennel and Saki. I was wondering if you had a favorite one. Like, who do you prefer?
Okay, this was a little while ago.
Yeah.
Man,
If you don't remember, that's okay.
can describe which one.
Fennel is the one with the long twin ponytails.
Okay.
Saki's the one with the short brown hair, and she helps out at a daycare. She likes to make storybooks. And,
Gotcha.
Fennel is in the game kind of described as a closet fan. It's actually in a room, so I'm not making it up. And yeah.
Now, I haven't played that game through. You're able to choose which which girl you like best and kind
And
of
who
go
you
out.
pair up with.
Gotcha. I'm gonna have to pick that up and see, and then, you know what? I'm really gonna have to pick that up and play it, and then I will answer your question online.
Oh, thank you.
So hit me up on Facebook. I won't forget. I'll take notes. Gotta play as Alto, and I'll have an answer for you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
How many, like, I wasn't sure, but how many episodes have you done of Sword Art Online? Have you just done the first episode of the dub, or have you done more?
I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to tell you, what I'm not supposed to tell you about our progress.
But have you done more than just the first episode?
I've done a lot more than the first episode.
So what
I don't.
you don't have to, like...
I'm actually very, very close to being done with the series. All I can do is cross my fingers and hope that they make more. Because I think a lot of people are hoping that the story continues and we see Gun Gale as an anime. That would be just awesome.
Yeah. So my question was like, unless you haven't done, which is about episode 13, 14, I think, when they're fighting like the boss before the, in case
With the blue eyes?
No. Slight kind of.
Oh, the bone.
Yeah. How do you feel like when and ends up taking the blow instead of Kirito? Like how did you feel like in that mindset of when that happens?
Well, I mean, the story is very focused on their, and I mean they're in each other, and even though they meet each other in this virtual world, their love is genuine. I mean, they're truly in love, and they have so they really, you know, Kirito learns to care about someone else and genuinely care about her and love her, and she loves him back. So, you know, you just see that come out in that scene. You know, she doesn't want him to die.
Do you remember what it was like to be Shugo?
Oh man, it was a while ago. So I think I was 15 15 years old when I recorded Got Hacked. So I definitely remember being in the booth and some of the lines, but it's a while ago that I did that. And that was such an awesome series. It's so cool to be in a series that has a lot of similarities. You know, it's like I'm going back in the game with Kirito. But I definitely have a few memories. But it was a while ago. I wish I could be there with a camera just recording myself and be like, what was it like when I recorded Got Hacked? Oh yeah, I can just watch that.
I'm wondering what the storyline is between you being credited as Dick Smallberry's Jr. in a few of your roles.
Who? Dick Smallberry's Jr.?
That was some of your roles, but you played like Batch Stampede Young.
That is a hilarious name.
Kiriyama.
That is ridiculous.
Apparently you're credited as that name in a few of your roles.
And you know nothing about that?
I know absolutely nothing about that, but I feel so sorry for whoever named that person. Dick Smallberry.
I wonder if it was in the Wikipedia hat, but I don't remember.
Are you sure it's not Richard Smallberry? That is a ridiculous name.
Well, you said earlier your dad was a voice actor before you.
My dad was a voice actor.
Maybe
Yes.
it's 2 years from that, I wonder.
That's my question.
I don't know, but that is hilarious.
So I know that a lot of people tend to ask this question, but what is your weirdest con experience?
You know, I'm still relatively new to conventions. I've only done a few of them, and all of my con experiences have been awesome. I mean, I'm here at conventions for you guys. Like, you want to see me? Awesome. I want to see you too. Like, I feel amazing that I'm out here. So I haven't had any weird con experiences, at least not yet. I mean, it's early in the weekend if you guys want to do some weird stuff.
Can you do you have a favorite catchphrase of Asbel?
Of Asbel? I like when the Stampede Strike! That one. That's good. There's so many, I had 3,600 lines in that game. So it's like narrowed down to one line. That was my entire summer being Asbel. It's very, very difficult to narrow it down to one. Hey.
Hi. How do you feel about the relationship between Kirito and his cousin?
With Sulu, his sister / cousin. Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting relationship, to say the least. I mean, she falls for him. Every girl falls for Kirito. Every girl loves Kirito.
He's a hero.
So, it's interesting. But the scenes when she and goes through that sort of awkward blend of emotions is pretty cool. It's pretty cool to say the least. But he's just clueless. He's like, whatever. Why are you upset right now? It's cool. Everyone loves me anyway. So but yeah, thank you.
For when you're voicing like Rin and whatnot, and they're going, like Rin and Yuki are doing their like sibling arguments, which happen quite often through the series, how do you like feel when you're actually voice acting that? Do you ever feel like you can go through that scene?
Well, I'm an only child. I don't have a brother, but I can imagine, you know, friends that I've had similar arguments with, and you know, Yukio's a four-eyed little face. So
like what I mean is like when you're doing voice acting with like Yukio's voice actor, which I forget the name of.
His name's Johnny Umbash, and he's extremely talented.
Luckily my voice is loud enough. When you're voice acting with him, do you ever feel like you sometimes will get in like arguments with him, like either after or like outside of it or with him?
So this is actually kind of interesting. Johnny is not with me when I'm recording. I'm in a booth by myself with a director and someone working the board and with someone from Aniplex. Her name is Hiroe and she is awesome. So we're not together. And sometimes I go first. So when I'm acting, I don't get to respond to Johnny. And sometimes it's the same for Johnny, he doesn't get to respond for me. So it's the job of the director and the team to point us in the right direction, to say, Johnny is going to perform the line in this way, so you should be feeling these emotions. And, you know, I'll deliver the line and do the best I can, and it's up to the next person to make sure it works out. And sometimes it doesn't work out, and they're like, well, we gotta go back and do this scene again, because the way you delivered this line makes no sense with the way he delivered that line. But it's an interesting experience, and sometimes you have to just imagine that person's, you know, yelling at you, or you just knocked his glasses off and laughing at his face.
That was a funny scene.
So yeah, it's challenging doing that, but it keeps it interesting, you know. Voices in my head talking to me, and I get to respond to them. Cut me off. Can we do one more question? I know you had a question.
Actually, I made a mistake there. I thought these were end times, not start times. So you actually have an extra 30 minutes.
Oh, we have plenty of time.
Sorry about that mistake.
All right. Hey.
What is your favorite line in Disorder?
There's some good ones. You'll see some epic screams tomorrow. And some of those have, you know, like I said, they just kind of give you the chills. They're awesome. And if I scream right now, there would be an earthquake and the lights would start falling down, so I'm not going to scream. I like, if I die in the game, I die in real life. That's a good one.
Okay, so in Tales of Graces at the end, as the and it plays through like the entire epilogue, and like stuff happens, and he has to like actually in the being I was trying to kill like everyone in the world.
Yeah.
Were there times like when I was going through that, I was like, no, Asma, what are you doing? That's not right. Were there times when you were like frustrated with Asma's character because Asma died, and like because he was so different from you, or were you guys similar enough that you like agreed with everything that you were doing?
You know, that game is so massive. I got to go through the entire story with him and you know, sort of feel those emotions as taking in that evil sort of energy and, you know, getting two different colored eyes. But I wasn't frustrated with the role. I felt like it was very much in my wheelhouse. I became Asbel, and I just had fun with it. It was one of my favorite experiences as a voice actor. I worked with the very talented Wendy Lee. She was directing me, and she is just always pleasant to be around. So, you know, I had a summer of Tales, summer of Asbel, and I didn't get frustrated. I just had fun.
When you were chosen to voice act as Pam,
Yes.
were you told to do kind of a childish or kind of a mature voice?
Right in the middle. The Japanese actor who played Zidane is a girl. So he's definitely not manly. He's definitely not a little kid. He's kind of like in that teenage, like you know, boyish kind of sound. So I was definitely told to not make him sound too old. But that was another awesome experience because I grew up playing Final Fantasy, and I had, you know, always wanted to be part of that franchise.
I'm really curious about your background. Like, you mentioned that your father was a voiceover actor before you. How did you get into this, and what was required of you to be like where you are today?
So I said earlier, you know, I used to watch my dad, and one day I just kind of happened to be there at the right time and got thrown in the booth. Nothing required of me was not much to just be, you know, have fun and go with it and enjoy it. And I wasn't extremely busy like I have been recently as a kid. And I'm ecstatic to be so busy now. And now it's a lot of auditioning, reading for tons and tons of different roles, and going into the studio, recording, just bringing my A game every time I step in the booth. A lot of auditioning. As a voice actor, you audition all the time, and I tell people if they get 1 out of 100 auditions, they're extremely, lucky and doing very well in the business. So that's a lot of what I do.
Do you ever get nervous, or like that you might be up against like really like good people? Do you sometimes like get that confidence thing?
No, I'm not nervous at all, because I know I'm up against really good people every single time. There's a ton of amazing talent out there, and tons of people that have done just awesome projects. So I know that unless my audition and my acting is spot on, I'm not going to get chosen. I'm not going to get hired again. So it's competitive. It's extremely competitive. But I'm not nervous. My mentality is I'm me. I go and I do the best I can. I put 100% into it, and if it's meant to be, if I'm supposed to play that role, then they'll pick me for that role, and I'll carry it and put everything I have into it. And I feel like that's kind of the attitude you have to take as an actor, because you're going to hear no more than you hear yes.
Is a virtual reality game like Sword Art Online actually?
Would you be interested in playing it, or would you be nervous that something might happen like in Sword Art Online?
I would probably just jump in and play, even knowing that that option is out there. But they're starting to develop things that are kind of similar. I think it's called Oculus Rift. Is that right? Yeah, that looks awesome. I know people. I talked to some people who were playing with it at E3, and you're just totally immersed in the game. So Sword Art takes place in the future, and I think it's very possible that a nerve gear could come to fruition. There could be one where you are totally in the game. So let's hope that comes and that people don't get stuck in there. Because if you die in the game, you die in real life.
In one of the episodes, Kirito is helping out this girl to get her dragon back to life.
Yeah, helping Silica.
Yeah, Silica. And they get ambushed by an orange gill.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when you're voice acting in that moment, like Kirito's saying, basically analyzing, saying how many attacks are doing, and because of what he is, how strong he is, his HP just goes right back up. Do you feel like you're invincible in that moment? Exactly, yeah. When
Alex, the director, was getting me to that point, he just said, you have absolutely no fear. There's no way that these guys can even make your HP go down at all. So he's, a god versus them at that point. So when I played that part, I made sure that there was absolutely no wavering in my confidence.
The side of voice acting, do you ever pretend to be like Rin or Kirito, just pretend and start fooling around at all?
I wish I could do flames on, flames off, flames on, flames off. I would totally do that. But
or do you ever get so into the voice acting that you actually start kind of acting it a little?
I love the songs in Sword Art, so especially at the beginning, right after I found out I was going to be part of the project, I would play the song and get so amped. The opening song is great. And I mean, yeah, there's definitely times that I'll talk to my dogs in characters and mess with them as Rin or as Kirito. Or as Masaomi.
As a voice actor, do you prefer the ADR or do you prefer prelay?
Prefer ADR or what was?
Prelay? Or do you do prelay?
What do you mean by prelay?
You know, like you record the lines, they create, you know, they make the animation match the lines, you know, like DC animated.
Like original animation.
Yeah, original animation.
Yeah, I enjoy both. There's good things and bad things about each one. You know, when you're doing Japanese anime, obviously the show is already done in another language, and you're sort of restricted to how far you can take that character and what you can really have them sound like and have them do. Whereas when it's original animation, you sort of have more freedom to use your interpretation on it. So, you know, they both have challenges, but I just like being a voice actor. I like doing both.
Considering the competition aspect away from it, have you ever been given a chance, or like has there been a role that you heard about that you really wanted to like you were really hunting, like you were really gunning for it?
It's kind of interesting. Like, you never know what you're going to have the opportunity to audition for until, you know, that day. It comes in, your agent might send you an audition, it comes in the email, you record it, and it's gone. And sometimes, you know, there's roles out there and I go, oh, that would be really cool to do that. But I might never even get a chance to read for it, so you can't, you know, set your heart on something and say, I want this so bad, because you might not ever get even close to it. Someone might have a different idea for how a character should sound, or they want it to sound, so, you know, they might not even give me a shot. So I had heard of Sword Art Online before I knew that they were bringing it to the US. And I knew it was an awesome show. And when I saw that, when I knew I had the opportunity to read for this character, and I started listening to it and seeing just the way that the Japanese actor handled himself and performed, I was like, I can totally be that guy. Like, I see, you know, I can see that it'll work so well that there's a match. And the people who cast the show saw that match too. So when that happens, it works out, you know, but again, you never know. You never know what show's gonna come up or what's in your wheelhouse, or sometimes you read for something and you go, oh, there's no way they're calling me in for this. And the next day you get a phone call, hey, come on in and work.
Yay.
So that's always fun.
What's your average work day as a voice actor? And also, do you ever work on more than one project at once? For example, you're working on a syndicated television show and also a video game, maybe?
Absolutely, yeah. You always hope for days like that. You know, you want to stay busy and do something in the morning and something else in the afternoon. There's no schedule for a voice actor. I don't show up every day at 8 a.m. or, you know, work 9 to 5. It's always like this, up and down, up and down, up and down. So some days, absolutely nothing. I'm not a voice actor, and I have other things that I do. I'm a web designer. I teach Muay Thai and boxing and MMA. So when that happens, I stay busy doing other things. And then some days, you know, I have to be at one studio at 9 a.m. I have to be at another studio an hour after. Then I have to go home and record 3 auditions. And it's, you know, absolutely nonstop. And fortunately, I've been having more and more of those days, so you guys are going to hear a lot of me coming up soon.
When did you first get into anime?
First get into it. It was a while ago. I definitely worked on some anime projects, doing ancillary characters and doing what's called walla, which is like background noise. So if a character is at school and there's students in the classroom, you recreate that sound. So I started doing projects like that where you work in a group of people, and I have to look that up too. Cool. I can't remember my first anime job because I was probably 9 years old, 8 years old.
I'm just curious, and I'm not sure if you remember, but do you remember what lines that you used to audition for Asbel? Was it like a scene or just random lines?
there was just random lines. They had like a few just speaking lines. They had a few battle lines, and I mean that was it's always an insane competition to get a game like that, to get a Tales game. And I hadn't been part of the franchise before this. So I was ecstatic. I obviously, did something right in that audition, which they said, this is Asphalt, he's the guy. So, and I can't even put my finger on what it was, what was different about that audition than the one I did the day before, the one I did the day after. So, but there was a mixture of lines, so they could get a flavor of, what I would be like in conversation, what I would be like in battle.
In the first episode of Blue Exorcist, first or possibly second episode of Blue Exorcist, when like between the fight of Grandpa and like the battle when he first awakens.
Fight in Satan, right? Like
during that whole emotional thing, how did that feel like voice acting that, and what did you like?
Father scenes and emotional scenes like that are always sort of tough. I lost my dad a while ago, but those feelings are definitely still there, and I can sort of tap into them. And I hope that when I do that, you get that sort of raw emotion.
It's like that's like when I was listening to it all, that's what I could feel that, so that's why I was just wondering.
Well, I'm ecstatic, that came through. It's hard for me to do that, but I want it to sound genuine and real, so I give myself there. I give myself to that point.
It was well done.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I hope that that you guys enjoy the performance, and that's what it's all about, Yay! Thank you so much, everybody.